Okay, so out of all the places we've traveled, we've stayed in Mexico for probably the longest now, which is about 3 or 4 months. And it's actually the one place that we feel like we need to learn the local language. So it's time for us to stop being lazy and actually learn Spanish.
We've just started taking lessons using italki, doing one-on-one lessons with an actual teacher, and we've actually started improving our Spanish already. At italki, you can learn Spanish with over 3,000 high-quality native-speaking teachers. You can schedule customized one-on-one Spanish lessons to discuss any topics you need at any time, anywhere by simply logging into the app. There's no subscription needed, you just pay per lesson, and if you're not happy with the app or your teacher, there's no commitment whatsoever.
So it's actually really affordable as well, with lessons starting from just $5 for a half-an-hour lesson. We plan on doing an hour lesson at least once a week, but we'll probably do 2 a week, and we're gonna see how we go. We'll keep you guys up to speed with how our Spanish is going, and we'll test it out in the streets with random people. Hopefully we don't look like idiots. But aside from Spanish, if your New Year's resolution is to learn another language, they have more than 150 other languages available to learn at italki.
We think that learning a new language is super important for expanding your mind and your consciousness and just having a better understanding of where you are and the people around you.
Yeah, and taking one-on-one lessons seems to be a lot easier for us rather than having to actually study ourselves. We're having a conversation with a real teacher, and I think that's a real bonus.
So if you are interested in learning a new language in the new year, click the link in the description, and don't forget to use our exclusive promo code to redeem $5 learning credits for your first lesson. The discounts are only available for the first 50 users, so make sure you get in quick. Okay, now back into the video. For the past year, we have been traveling around Southeast Asia and Mexico to some of the best digital nomad, expat, and retiree hotspots, staying for longer periods of time to really get a gauge on what it's actually like to live in these places. In this video, we are going to give you our list of our favorite places we lived and why you should consider moving there in 2023.
Okay, so it's important to remember before we start, this is our top 5, and this goes by what our preferences are. This might not be the same for you, but this is our top 5. So if you disagree with us, let us know in the comments below. If you agree with us, let us know in the comments below as well. So we've narrowed this down to 9 separate criteria for each place, and the criteria is cost of living, visas, geographical location, getting around, the people or the vibe of the place, food, fitness, fun, and safety. All right, so number 5 is Phuket, Thailand. It's number 5 on the list for a couple of reasons. We'll go through every criteria and maybe that'll give you a better idea. So number 1, cost of living. We give this a 4 out of 5 because rentals are actually pretty cheap there in Thailand, and so was a lot of other things like food and massages and things like that. Yeah. So it is a bit cheaper than places in Bali like Canggu and even Playa del Carmen, Mexico. You can get a place to rent for a fair bit cheaper in Phuket, so cost of living gets a 4 out of 5. Visas, we gave it a 5 out of 5 because it's actually very easy. You can enter Thailand on a 60-day tourist visa to check it out before you decide on moving there. And they also have a digital nomad visa, which is basically for digital nomads, retirees with pensions, and wealthy investors who can apply for a long-term residence visa and live in the country for up to 10 years, as long as they meet certain requirements. Location, we only gave this a 3 out of 5 because it is close to Southeast Asia. Like, you can fly to Bangkok. There's a couple of other places you can go that are nearby Phuket, but other than Southeast Asia, it's actually pretty far from anywhere else in the world. Like, it's not that close to Australia. It's about a 10-hour flight, I believe, to Australia. And then to North America, like, it's pretty far. It's like a 13, 14-hour flight as well. So we gave this a 3 out of 5. So getting around, we could only give this a 3 out of 5 because it's mostly big highways, and renting a scooter wasn't really that cheap. It was way more expensive than in Bali. So I feel like having a car there would be ideal, but there was also a lot of police like checkpoints where I think they were stopping people for either not having like the right license or a helmet or registration. So getting around there actually sort of seemed like a bit of a hassle.
Yeah, I didn't feel as safe on the back of the scooter when it was these massive highway looking roads either. Just something to think about.
The people there, or the vibe, we also gave it a 3 out of 5 just because there's a lot of holiday makers and tourists there, and it depends what you're looking for. If you're a retiree, there were a lot of retirees in Thailand, but us being a bit younger and looking for like maybe a bit of a younger crowd, digital nomads, we couldn't really give it a higher score than that.
We gave the food a 4 out of 5. Arguably could been a 5 out of 5, but in Phuket we found it a bit difficult to find more affordable options, just again because it is quite touristy. You do have the prices get jacked up a little bit in the nicer spots of Phuket. Out of all the food that we had eaten in Southeast Asia, Thai food was my absolute favorite and still is. Food was very good.
Yeah.
Everywhere in Thailand, really.
Really missed that mango sticky rice.
It was so good.
So fitness we gave a 4 out of 5 as well, because it depends what you're looking for. There is great places to go for runs on the beach, which is always a plus. There's a really big MMA community there. There's a lot of big MMA gyms like Tiger MMA, where a lot of professional fighters go. There's a lot of Muay Thai. But other than that, we didn't find that there was definitely no real yoga there. Like that was hard to find.
Yeah.
There were some gyms, but they were a bit few and far between. So we couldn't give it a 5 out of 5, but depending on what you're looking for, there is a fitness scene there. So we gave it 4.
So for fun and activities that you can do in Phuket, we gave it a 4 out of 5. Again, because it's a touristy place, there's so many tours that you can choose from. There's nightlife, lots of nightclubs and things like that.
Definitely nightlife, and then a lot of tours, like you can go paragliding, jet skiing, you can go island hopping, so there's plenty to do there. Safety, we gave it a 4 out of 5 as well. We probably would have given it 5 out of 5, except if you're out late at night, I wouldn't be feeling 100% safe. Mostly like petty crime, but we did hear a little bit about like drinks getting spiked and things like that. I would say during the day, safety, it's completely safe. If you're going out partying at nightclubs and stuff like that, just be careful. Keep your head on a swivel.
Number 4 is Ubud in Bali.
We actually spent about 2 months in Ubud, so we really liked it. And one of the main reasons was because it was very cheap for accommodation. I remember us paying around 600 Australian dollars for a month for a really good like co-working hostel, which had a really nice room and a great co-working place. It also had really good internet. So for visas, we gave it a 3 out of 5, and that's because it is quite easy to get in and get a 30-day tourist visa to check it out. And you can extend the visa 5 times, so you can stay there 6 months, which is pretty good in theory, but each month you actually have to go and do like a visa run. You have to go to immigration and give them your passport and pay a fee. And we actually had to leave our passport with them pretty much the whole time we were there. They had our passports.
Yeah.
So compared to like Mexico and Thailand, just wasn't as easy and it was more expensive, so that's why we could only give it a 3 out of 5. We actually even had to go to immigration, I believe, the first time we extended and do like fingerprint scan, and we had to wait in line. It was like a whole day thing.
Yeah.
So in theory, it's pretty good, but there is a little bit involved in getting your visa extensions. However, Indonesia does offer KITAS visas, which is like long-term residence business visas, as well as retirement visas. So it's pretty good as well. So geographical location, we actually only gave this a 2 out of 5 because Bali is fairly close to Australia. It's like a 7 or 8 hour flight. But other than that, it's pretty far from anywhere else. Like I think the closest major airport is like Kuala Lumpur or Singapore. And then you're in Southeast Asia, which if that's where you want to be, that's great. You're very far from Europe or North America. You're in a completely different time zone from Europe and North America if you're working online. Ubud is sort of right in the center of Bali, which is a very nice place to be, except it's far from any beaches and you have to drive through Denpasar, the main city, to get to like any beaches. So for that reason, we gave it a 2 out of 5.
But if you like like a very secluded place in the jungle, it's perfect for that. I feel like it's the spot that you should go to unplug. I picture if I wanted to like write a book or something, it'd be a great place to live as well. It's a very healing place. So getting around in Ubud was okay because there's Gojek everywhere. If you have a scooter, it's very easy to get around, but as far as walking, not that easy. There's not really sidewalks or anything in Ubud, so you definitely need a means of transportation in our opinion. The vibe of the people in Ubud, beautiful because of the yoga scene, a lot of spirituality, eco-friendly resorts, that type of thing. You get a lot of very happy, kind people in the area.
It's a bit of a mix between digital nomads, yogis and retirees, but also in Ubud we noticed there was a lot more locals than really anywhere else that we were, so yeah. You're actually in a local city, so we liked that a lot about it. Yeah,
you get to experience the culture a lot more than you do say in somewhere like Canggu or other parts of Bali. Food, we had to give a 5 out of 5. Some of our favorite restaurants that we visited all of our time in Southeast Asia are in Ubud. If you haven't seen our Ubud videos, we'll link it above. We loved the food in Ubud.
There's a good mix of local warongs and restaurants as well as Western food. Like our favorite Thai restaurant was there as well. And it's a lot cheaper than in other parts of Bali, like the touristy parts of Bali, such as Canggu and Seminyak and Kuta. Restaurants are actually a fair bit cheaper in Ubud, so we gave it a 5 out of 5.
Fitness, we gave a 4 out of 5. If you're into yoga, it's an awesome place to be. We couldn't really find much options in the ways of other gyms, so it was mostly tailored to yoga studios. There's an abundance of them, really good ones there, but as far as like if you just want to go to a regular gym, not a whole lot of options that we could find. We gave the fun aspect, the activities of Ubud, sort of a 3 out of 5. There is lots to do in Ubud. We were there during the pandemic, so a lot of like the bars and the nightlife wasn't happening. But that being said, if you're into tours, there's the monkey forest there, which also after the pandemic was a bit sketchy to go to. It's more of a place I think where you go to relax and heal, not so much somewhere that I think you would want to go party.
No, there is day clubs around, like sort of day pool clubs where you can hang out for the day and have drinks by the pool, but yeah, other than that, there's like ATV tours, jungle tours. We gave safety 5 out of 5 in Ubud because we never once felt unsafe and never really heard of any incidents happening, except for that monkey that attacked that girl.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Yeah.
The monkeys are probably the most unsafe thing there. They'll pickpocket you and try and steal your watch or your sunglasses, so be careful of the monkeys. Yeah. But other than that, completely safe. The only issue we had actually was with the police pulling us over and shaking us down a couple of times, but it was like 20 bucks or whatever. Yeah. So other than that, it was completely safe. Right, so number 3, we have Canggu, Bali, which is probably the most popular digital nomad destination on this list. It's probably not as popular for retirees. The main reason I think it's popular is because it's almost like being set up as a hub for digital nomads. The cost of living, we could only give a 4 out of 5. It is cheaper than places in Mexico. It's a little bit more expensive than Ubud. You can still get a pretty decent place for about 800 bucks a month. Mm-hmm. Australian, I think is what we were paying, about 600 Australian a month, but that was like when it was quiet. So prices are going up and it's definitely getting more expensive. Cost of living in general is going up in Canggu because it's turned into such a digital nomad hotspot. It's still a lot cheaper than a lot of places in Europe and Australia and the US and things like that. Our visas, obviously the same as Ubud. You got the same 30-day entry visa that you have to keep extending, or if you want to stay longer, you've got the option for the Kitas visa or a retirement visa. So we gave that a 3 out of 5. Geographical location, we gave it 3 out of 5, a little bit better than Ubud because it is on the beach and it's pretty close to the airport. It's also close to Seminyak and Legian and Kuta, so there's a little bit more around Canggu and it's very close to the airport, but still you're in Bali, which is pretty far from everywhere else.
As far as getting around in Canggu, again, not a whole lot of sidewalks, But renting a scooter is quite affordable, easy to get around, but you do have to keep in mind of the Bali traffic.
Traffic in Canggu is actually getting really, really bad. But getting around on a scooter, it's actually pretty fun and it's very cheap. So we gave it a 4 out of 5 for getting around.
So for the vibe and the people that Canggu attracts, we gave a 5 out of 5 because I think this is the main thing that sort of attracts people to this area. The vibe of it is really exciting. If you are a nomad or an entrepreneur, it's a pretty special place to experience the energy of.
That's one of the reasons we stayed so long there. We did 3 months in Canggu and we actually were only meant to spend a week there. When we first got there, it was very quiet and we went to Ubud and we went around Bali, and then when we came back, we were due to leave to go to Thailand, and just because of the people and the vibe, we felt like a lot of energy of young people working online, so we decided to stay. So for digital nomads, this is definitely a hotspot.
Yeah, I think if you are a nomad, it's something you have to experience at least once.
So food, we're going to give it 4 out of 5, mainly because the Indonesian food is very cheap, but in general, it's not too healthy. It is cooked in a lot of oil. You can go to Warong's and get a meal for like, honestly, $3 or something, and we really liked it.
Yeah.
But after a while, we realized we were getting not only sick of it, but it probably wasn't the best for us. However, in Canggu, there's a lot of Western restaurants and cafes that have opened up that sell like really healthy food. The only issue is they're starting to charge like more Western prices that reflect sort of what you would pay back home. So that's the reason we gave it a 4 out of 5.
Fitness, we gave a 5 out of 5, rightfully so, because there's so many options. No matter what you do, there's a studio for it in Canggu. It was amazing. Like if you wanted to go horseback riding, there's horses there, or lots of surfing, yoga, so many different beautiful gyms with cold plunges. Like there's something for everyone. Yeah,
there's regular gyms, there's MMA gyms, there's literally anything you can think of for fitness you can do in Canggu. It's probably, to be honest, what I miss about it the most.
Me too.
They were a little expensive. We found that the yoga and the gym prices were more there than what we've really seen anywhere else, but the quality is really good.
Yes.
Fun, we're going to give it 5 out of 5 because basically the beach and the beach clubs, like all you need to do is walk down the beach every night and you'll see a ton of people having fun. There's a lot of restaurants on the beach and bars on the beach. There's also like day clubs around, and if you jump on a scooter or get in a taxi, you're not far from anywhere when you're in Canggu, so you can have a lot of fun going to different places. There's a bunch of tours as well you could do, but you could honestly just stay in Canggu and go to house parties or beach parties every day.
Yeah. So number 2 is Playa del Carmen, Mexico, where we currently are right now.
So for cost of living, we actually only gave it a 3 out of 5 because it's a little bit more expensive than places like Ubud, Bali or Phuket. Expect to pay about $800 a month for like a decent place. Obviously, you can get cheaper places further back from like Fifth Avenue and the beach, but we prefer to be closer to the beach and in a pretty decent place that we have now.
Yeah, we're in a 1-bedroom studio that has a pool, includes all the utilities as well, has internet, so it's kind of perfect for us, and it's furnished near the beach.
Yeah.
So we thought that was a pretty good deal, but for some people, obviously, like Lloyd said, it's more expensive than Bali for sure.
And other things like taxis are really cheap, SIM cards are really cheap. So all in all, cost of living, 3 out of 5. I think because there is a lot more tourists around, the prices do get jacked up a little bit. So visas, we gave this a 5 out of 5, and that's because if you want to come here and check it out before like settling down here, you can actually get a 6-month visa on arrival. If you fly into Cancun airport, they'll just stamp you 6 months, which is great, like 6 months here to check it out. And you could even leave and go somewhere else for a while and come back and get another 6-month visa. There is also the option to get like a temporary residence visa, which gives you up to 4 years of living here. You just have to meet certain requirements, which really, if you're a digital nomad, aren't that hard. That's available to most foreign nationals, and you can also get a retirement visa here pretty easy as well. Geographical location. We gave this a 5 out of 5 because we love being in the same time zone as the US, mainly for work. Like, we're always on the same time zone as people, we're emailing back and forth. It's also really good for me because I watch US sports, so like everything's live. It's close to a lot, like even just here in Playa del Carmen, you're an hour from Tulum. You've got Puerto Morelos and Cancun right near you. You've also got Merida, Chichen Itza. Cancun's a major airport, so you can fly to other places in Mexico for very cheap. You've also got a lot of places in the Caribbean close by, like Cuba, Jamaica, Belize, that are really easy to get to. Plus, the rest of Central America is really close by, and South America. And then, of course, you're only a few hours flight from the US mainland. So for us, we gave it a 5 out of 5. Getting around Playa del Carmen, we gave this a 5 out of 5 as well, because if you get an apartment that's anywhere near 5th Avenue, then you're set. You can just walk everywhere. You can actually get a bike. There's these bikes that they call city bikes, I think. And it costs like 20 bucks for a year, and you get a membership. And you can pick up these bikes and ride them to any other bike station in town. So even if you don't own a bike, you can get around riding really easily. As we said, like walking around, if you're anywhere near 5th Avenue, it's super easy. There's also taxis that are always driving around. Unfortunately, they don't have Uber, but the taxis are really cheap here, so it's not really a big deal.
For the vibe of the place and the people, we've given a 4 out of 5. We've met so many beautiful people since we've been here. There's a very big mix of retirees, expats, digital nomads, tourists. There's kind of a big blend of everything. We just gave it a 4 out of 5 because it is a little bit on the touristy side. Like not very local, but you can, as long as you get off 5th Avenue, then you can see more of the real Playa del Carmen. The vibe's pretty good. Everyone's just always happy to be here. It feels pretty good to be a part of.
Food, we had to give a 4 out of 5 because there's so many restaurant options here. Some really, really good Mexican food. Like we've had some awesome tacos and ceviche and stuff here.
So good.
There's also a lot of Argentinians here and a lot of Argentinian restaurants. There's a lot of Italian restaurants, and of course there's Western options. The only reason we couldn't give it a 5 out of 5 is because price in some of these places, if you want to go to the nicer places, gets a little bit more expensive and closer to what you'd pay back home. But one good thing about here is they do have some really big supermarkets. Like there's even a Walmart here. So doing grocery shopping has made it really easy to eat what we want to eat and eat healthy.
Fitness, we've given it a 3 out of 5. There are a few really good gyms. There is yoga here, but everything is very crowded. I think because maybe there isn't enough of it here. So maybe if you were looking for somewhere to open a fitness center, this would probably be a really great place because there is a lot of very healthy people, expats, and nomads that live here. Very fitness focused. You'll see a lot of people running in the morning on 5th Avenue. The beach is always packed with people exercising, but there's definitely not enough gyms, so everything is a little bit too crowded, but it is very affordable as well here for fitness.
Yeah, I think we pay around $50 for a monthly pass. That's to either a gym or a yoga studio, which is really good.
Really, I think that's the cheapest that we've had since, since we've been traveling. Fun, we gave a 5 out of 5 because the fun is endless in this area.
It's actually kind of dangerous and annoying because every night of the week there's somewhere to go out. Like there's nightclubs and bars and restaurants, but aside from that, you've got like all-inclusive resorts, which we've already been to a few of them and they're all awesome. You got Cancun just up the road, which has like, they even have like major concerts playing in Cancun, and there's tours and island hopping you can do. There's pretty much an endless amount of fun you can have here. Don't expect it to be too cheap because it is catered to tourists. So safety, we were only able to give a 3 out of 5, and to be completely honest, we've felt completely safe since we've been here, and we have been completely safe. However, there is that sort of lingering knowledge in the background that some things do happen here. If you've seen the news, you've probably seen what we're talking about. We don't need to go into detail about it. From personal experience, have felt completely safe, never had any safety issues at all, but we are generally home every night and we're not walking around at 1 o'clock in the morning after going to a bar or a nightclub, so we can't speak for what it would be like if you were doing that. But just because of what we've heard about and read about, we could only give it 3 out of 5.
So number 1 on our list is Puerto Escondido, Mexico. It was our favorite place that we visited as far as beach towns go.
Yeah.
I didn't want to leave. I really wanted to stay. I felt like it was a slice of Asia put into Mexico, mixed with lots of expats and young people, and it was just awesome.
I think if we didn't already have our plans rooted here, like we had an apartment, we have our dog here, and we've obviously got the van that we're taking from here, we probably would have gone and spent a month or 2 in Puerto Escondido just because we liked it so much. One of the main reasons is it feels like it's becoming the new Canggu.
Yeah, it really does. Like, if I was to predict anywhere in the world that would become the next digital nomad hotspot, I would say Puerto Escondido for sure.
Cost of living, we gave a 4 out of 5 just because hotels weren't as cheap as what we thought they might be. I think it's starting to get a bit more expensive. Having a quick look on Marketplace, it seemed like apartments and stuff were pretty much on par with Playa del Carmen and other places like Puerto. So not as cheap as Bali or Thailand. So for that, we could only give it a 4 out of 5. Visas are a 5 out of 5 because it's basically exactly the same as Playa del Carmen. You can get a 6-month entry visa, and then if you want to stay longer, you can do the extended 4-year visa. For location, we gave it a 4 out of 5. We would have given it 5 out of 5, the same as Playa del Carmen, except that Puerto Escondido is on the Pacific coast and it's a little bit further away from everything else. So you're kind of a little bit isolated in Puerto Escondido there. Closest like big city is Oaxaca, which is a really good city to visit actually. You're probably not gonna fly there because it's too expensive. So you'd be looking at like an 8 or 9 hour bus ride.
Getting around is very easy. You can walk pretty much anywhere. Felt a lot safer walking there than, let's say, Canggu. Getting a scooter, really affordable. Felt really safe driving a scooter around there. The roads weren't too hectic. It's not crazy traffic.
Honestly, getting a scooter was pretty cheap there. I feel like it would be fine to drive a car around there as well because they've got really big roads.
Yes.
So you could have the option of either.
So the vibe of the people in Puerto Escondido was great. There was a lot of expats, young nomads. I couldn't believe how busy it was there. I hadn't really heard much about this place, so I was really surprised how many young people were there. The beaches were packed at sunset. Lots of good restaurants for people to hang out in. It's just a really, really good up-and-coming vibe for nomads.
Especially one area, La Punta, which seemed to be like the new Canggu. If you're a retiree, I don't know if that's what you're looking for or not. I wouldn't deter any retirees from going there because it's a really nice spot, but it definitely felt a lot younger than Playa del Carmen. The food we gave a 4 out of 5 because there's a lot of cool restaurants right on the beach in Puerto Escondido, and there was quite a few healthy options as well. The only reason we didn't give it a 5 out of 5 really was because of the price. Like, it was a little bit more expensive, sort of similar to here, Playa del Carmen, as opposed to other places in like Southeast Asia where you can get very cheap food. We gave it a 4 out of 5.
It's still really affordable though. We're not saying that it's an expensive place by any means, but in comparison to Southeast Asia, it is a tad bit more expensive.
For fitness, we gave it a 4 out of 5 because we found this really cool gym that's right on the beach, actually working out in the sand on the beach, like in the middle of the morning. It was really cool. It
was so good.
And then obviously you got surfing there, which would keep you fit if you're into surfing. Like, there's some of the best surfing in Mexico there. There's lots of places to go for runs along the beach, which is really good. But other than that, yoga studios and gyms were a little bit few and far between. And I think that's something that's probably going to get improved as the place builds up.
Fun, we gave 5 out of 5 because it's a very fun place to be. We found an awesome bar that did bottomless pina coladas and they served them in a pineapple. We found ourselves there a lot most nights, and a lot of other people were as well. Heaps to do, lots of restaurants. There's a lot of things nearby. You also have the nudist beach, which is just an hour scooter ride away.
Yeah, pretty much when you think of fun in Puerto Escondido, think of like bonfires on the beach, and all the bars are set up on the beach, which is a really cool vibe. And last but not least was safety. We felt really safe the whole time. We never had any issues at all, but I don't know if I'd recommend walking around late at night. Again, you're still in Mexico, and if you've heard things on the news or seen stories about things happening in Mexico, you might want to be a bit careful, but I think it is a little bit different in that area than the Caribbean coast area. There's not as much of a heavy police presence, which makes you feel like there's probably not as much crime happening. And I don't really read too much about crime happening there. So for safety, 4 out of 5.
So there it is, our top 5 places we recommend you live or try living in 2023. Let us know down in the comments if you found this helpful, if you agree with us, if you disagree. We'd love to know where you think people should go in 2023.
Yeah, and just remember, this is our opinion. We didn't put any big cities in this list because we don't really like living in big cities, but maybe you do. Yeah. So we are more tailored to small places and beach towns.
Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for all travel content in the future, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.